Hey guys, it's Tamara. Welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for coming back. I'm actually in a little bit of a different position today. I'm doing paperwork and on my way into a session, but I wanted to spend a little bit of time kind of talking about ways to identify why it's difficult to manage your emotions when you have somebody in your environment that is a major trigger for you. So what do you do about the individual who's on your job, about the individual who lives in your home, who lives next to you, about a stranger that bothers you and gets under your skin and bypasses your boundaries and totally disregards you? How do you get through that, and why do you get triggered so easily? So we're going to talk about that today. So thank you so much for coming back to my channel. For those who are subscribed and for those who are not, I encourage you to stick around and hit that subscribe button over there so that you can be a part of our online community. The benefits for you in today's video is that you're going to learn about 6 things that I think typically is at the foundation of someone with easily triggered anger. So all this week, we've been talking about pathological liars, and I included an article in my first video description box. So if you missed that, go ahead and go back to that video. I'm actually going to post it up here for you as well so that you can go back and look at that. On Wednesday, I talked about ways to manage the individual who's a pathological liar. And so today, of course, we have a new topic. So why is it difficult not to get triggered from 0 to 100 by an individual who's bypassing your boundaries? Well, one of the things that I have clients do, and especially adolescents, and I'm going to do that with you, I want to give this to you to kind of look at and explore. So I'm going to use a marker because it's a little bit easier for you to see it, guys. Okay, so I'm going to draw this out for you. I want you to do this activity with me at home, because I think it could be very useful to you, and especially if you have a young adult or an adolescent who doesn't really have a clear idea of what triggers them from 0 to 100. Okay, so what you're going to do on your paper, you're going to need a paper and a pen, and I want you to draw a thermometer. Okay, it's this thing, that thermometer that has like a little bit of that red stuff at the bottom. Okay, can't remember what it's called, but what you're going to do is you're going to label it from 1 to 10. So 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. All right, so you want your page to look like that. And again, this is what I do as a visual with clients. So if you can do it along with me, I welcome you to do that. All right, so 10 is going to be extreme explosion. Okay, extreme explosion. Okay. 5 is going to be I want it to be kind of like the tipping point. Okay, that's the area where you're just aggravated, you're frustrated. Okay, so this is going to be frustration. Okay, and then I want 1 for you to be calm. So this is what you want your paper to look like, all right? So you want 10 to be extreme explosion, you want 5 to be frustration, and you want 1 to be kind of like a state of calm. So now let's go ahead and try to figure out together what it is that sends you up that thermometer. So, all right, so you're at 1, you're calm, you're at 2, you're calm, 3 is pretty calm. Well, right about when you get around to 4, that's probably when there's lack of sleep. Okay, lack of sleep, irritability. Okay, the other thing would be, let's see, coworkers. Okay, let's just say you have a coworker in your job that's so rude that you can't stand them. All right, something else may be a late deadline. Okay, so now you're getting pushed from 1, 2, 3. 4 is like, okay, now I'm getting frustrated, right? Because I have a coworker that doesn't respect me. I have, a late deadline. I got my project in way late than I wanted to. Irritable. I can't sleep at night, right? So now you're getting pushed to frustration. Well, let's say you finally get to number 5, which is frustration. Okay, you're at number 5, which is right up here. And what's number 5 for you? Well, a lot of my clients say arguments happen. Okay, road rage. Okay, what's the other thing? Irrational thoughts. Okay, so you want to add all of that near 5, okay? And just document everything that you notice about yourself and try to create a little bit of a scale for yourself, because that's what we're really doing. You need a scale so that you know what it is that slowly gets you up to extreme explosion. So, okay, now you're at 5. So, okay, what gets you up to 8? Well, that might be your wife or your husband starts to argue with you. So I'm going to put wife or hubby, right? Let's see, your kids are late for school. Soccer practice was canceled, right? Your friend accused you of something. All right, what's going to get you to 10, which is extreme explosion? You want to also write out what those things are, okay? So that could be, I got in a car wreck and now I have to pay all this money. It could be, I lost my job today. It could be, I felt racially discriminated against on my job today. It could be anything. Whatever it is, you want to plot it out because you need a scale of what it is that pushes you all the way up to extreme explosion. Now, on the opposite side of that scale, okay, on this side, you're going to want to add some things that you can do to kind of bring yourself back down to 1. All right, so I want to point out some foundational triggers that causes you to get pushed up that scale. And the first thing that I have noticed with clients is a lack of self-care. When you're not taking care of yourself and you're not taking the time out to rest, to sleep, to have a vacation, to eat good, to exercise, to have some downtime, right? To do something that your heart and your mind need you to do to keep it sustained. When you're not doing that, when you're not engaging in self-care, it's so much easier than you think to get you triggered, okay? It's so much easier than you think to get you triggered. The next thing is financial problems. That's typically at the core of frustration. Okay, so, your job is a little bit iffy. You're not sure if you can stay. You want a better job. You don't have a degree, so it's really hard for you to find employment. You don't like your boss. You don't like the changes that are being made, right? You feel trapped on your job. You get a 30-minute break and you have all these hours that you have to work. You don't have sick leave, right? You don't have short-term disability benefits. You just feel stuck in this position. Your rent is due, your card note is overdue, the light bill is due, whatever, right? All of those things, including a lack of self-care, can push you further up that thermometer and up that scale, okay? The next thing is inaction. So feeling stuck and feeling unable to move forward. Anytime you feel like you're regressing and going backwards, or you feel like you're stuck in quicksand, that's enough to push you up that thermometer and that scale, right? Because let's say you're at 5, which is frustration, right? If you start to feel stuck and trapped, or like you can't move up or can't do the things that you want to do, then you're going to have a hard time, right? You're going to flip because you already feel trapped and stuck. You don't need something else added to your plate, okay? Extreme and internal negativity. And let me add to this. So extreme, external, or internal negativity. Those are also foundational triggers that pushes you up the thermometer in that scale. So what I mean by that is, you hear a lot of things on the news that sounds like it's sexist, right? It's against women, or you hear something that sounds racially motivated or prejudicial. All of those things, right? You go to work and you start to say to yourself, I'm a loser, I'm a failure, I can't do anything right, I'm not good enough, I'm not smart enough, I'm not pretty enough, right? All of those things leads you to feeling more triggered than you really need to be, right? So the external trigger could be things that you're hearing outside of you, from society, from friends, from coworkers, from the news, from the radio, from politics, right? All of that. And then you have your own internal negative thoughts and emotions that go with that. That can be very, very hard. So if something adds to that, you're likely to get pushed up that thermometer in that scale, okay? The next is chaos. Any kind of chaos that you may be dealing with, whether at home or in your job, or even traffic jams during the day, right? That daily hustle and bustle stuff drives me insane, guys. I literally got into private practice for that reason. That was part of it. That was like the tipping point for me. I'm like, okay, if I do private practice, I don't have to have a stressful commute in the morning, because I'm just not going to go in on it, every morning. So I'm going to give myself a break. Of course, there were other reasons, but that was a really important reason for me. The hustle and bustle just drove me insane, and I couldn't deal with that. All right. So the next thing that I have is external validation. External validation, right? A lack of that can be another foundational trigger, right? You're not getting praised. You're not getting reinforced. You're not getting support, right? No one's applauding you for all the hard things that you do. And so, you know, if that's the foundation of how you feel about life and about yourself, then, you know, what happens is something else comes along and it's just going to tip you over, right? You're not going to feel very good about yourself at all. And last but not least is the need for perfection, right? The need for perfection. The more perfection you need, the more you want things to go the way you want them to go, the harder it's going to be to deal with life when it goes the opposite way. One of the things that I have learned over my lifetime, over my personal life, over my career, over my walk of faith, is that nothing went the way that I actually wanted it to go. And when it wasn't, I tried so hard to push it in the direction that I wanted it to go. And I had to recognize that I don't have the ability to move things like I think. And I don't have the ability to move my life in the direction that would be easier for me. So I have to figure out how to roll with the punches. I have to figure out how to go with the flow. I have to figure out how to protect my mind. And I have to find out what this life is all about. And so sometimes you have to coast through that, right? You got to coast through it. You can't fight it. I don't know if it was my mom or my grandmother that, you know, they used to say something similar to when you get in a pond, or you get in a you know, in this deep water, right? When you get in the ocean, if you kick too hard, you're going to drown, right? You're going to sink because you can't kick in the water, right? It just sinks you. But if you just float in the water, you're going to rise to the top. And I always thought that was a pretty good analogy. So I hope this video was helpful to you guys, and I hope some of my weird analogies were helpful to you as well. I think the foundation of this video is be mindful of what triggers you. Use this thermometer to kind of help you gauge where you're at and where you need to be. It's a visual, and when you get frustrated and upset, it's interesting how it pops back into your mind, right? You need that. It's a nice reminder. It's a nice nudge on the shoulder. Hey, there's too much pressure going on right now, and you need to pull back. You need some self-care. You need some external validation, right? You need some time alone. So keep this video in mind, guys. I encourage you to share it with those who might find it helpful as well. I will see you next week with a new video. Let me know what you think of this video in the comment section below. Bye-bye.